What's up, everybody? We back again with another episode 6 of Mouse Mode and Friends. I'm your host, one of your hosts, Zach. JD, say what's up to the people.
What's good, man? It's your boy Badger, of course, man. Another day in the office.
Yeah, we gonna jump right into it. We ain't even gonna mess around. Uh, we got to talk about Game 3 last
Yeah.
night. Warriors Celtics, obviously, NBA Finals. Um, Before I give you my thoughts, what was your thoughts on the game? I said obviously I picked the Warriors, Game 3. And it looked like for a moment,
Yeah.
but it ain't shake out like that. But go ahead, tell me what you thought.
I definitely expected Boston to win, as you know. It was some crazy stats I seen yesterday. I sent them in the chat, but Boston is undefeated. They were 12-0 in games officiated by Scott Foster this past year. They're 12-0, and they also are undefeated coming off losses in the playoffs. Whenever they lost, they never lost two in a row. So I think just due to the fact that for whatever reason they 12-0 and Scott Foster refs, and then I guess this team, whenever they get punched in the mouth and they lose, they know how to fight back and come back and win. So I expected Boston to win last night. I wasn't too surprised with the outcome. I was surprised with how close the Warriors came back, and then they came all the way back just to kind of give it up all over again. So um, they kind of weathered the storm in that third quarter a little bit. Not really, because I think Golden State cut an 18-point lead down to 1 point. And then they even took the lead at 1 point. And then in the fourth quarter, I guess they spent so much energy coming back that they didn't even have they didn't have enough energy, I guess, to keep fighting and finish the job.
Yeah, I mean, from what I saw, and I watched the whole game from start to finish. It's just again the Warriors came out flat again, right? Like I don't know if they thought that the Celtics was gonna come out flat, right? When you think about the fact that this is Boston's first, this is this team, not the
Yeah,
the franchise, but this team's first home game in the finals in that arena. And TD Garden is one of the most, hardest places to win and play, right? And I don't know if they thought that the Celtics was gonna come out flat, that they wasn't
yeah,
gonna be pumped and amped up and ready to go for this game at home. Now, if it was game 4, game 6, maybe, right? You don't know what type of
yeah,
Celtics teams you get. But the first game, you would have thought a veteran team, right? And that's been my one staple, has been holding on to this veteranship shit for the Warriors that they shown to not care about. Like it doesn't show up. It's like I don't know. It's like they came out flat, right? So
yeah,
the first half they just playing flat, like it's flat ball, right? They hang in there because Clay is playing pretty good in the first half,
yeah,
and they're doing okay, right? Somehow it was only down 12 at half. They should have been down a lot more than that, right?
yeah,
Down 12 at half with a team like the Warriors, with the shooters they have, being down 12 essentially is really probably in their eyes a two possession game
yeah,
because that'll flip like that, right?
yeah,
And like they went on an 8-0 run in like 35 seconds last night.
yeah.
So like
Very
they
quick.
can score without a problem. And the third quarter, I think they're outscoring Boston 115 to like 63 in the third quarter in all the
Yeah, it
games
might be
combined.
something like that.
And I'm like, that's nice. That's a great stat.
Yeah,
But can we play third quarter basketball, like the type of urgency that they have, like the plays that they're running, like the style, everything? Like, can we do some of that in the first and second quarter?
yeah,
Like, why is that so hard for them to come out as a team that's been to the finals multiple times, right? At some point, yeah, experience helps, right? Because I saw Clay in the post game say something about, um, oh, we've been here before. This is giving me 2015 vibes. That's cool. That's dandy, right? But you ain't playing like you've been here before.
yeah,
Like I don't think no championship team comes out flat. Like what were you expecting to see the Celtics just come out dead, really not interested being at home for the first time in the NBA Finals, um, in a while, like what since 2009, something like that. So it's like I don't know how Steve Kerr allows that team to come out there. I don't know how Steph Curry, Draymond, for as much as the antics as he does, which
yeah,
we'll talk about, which is getting to the point of like, yo, are you playing basketball or are you just doing extra stuff to hype up your pod?
Yeah.
It's like, fam, you ain't playing no basketball. Like I think he's the only person I've seen in a minute that had a single triple double or whatever.
Yeah.
Like every 2, 4, 3. Oh, Draymond, and then you file out on top of it. But
Yeah.
I'm not gonna get into that right now. But I just don't understand how the Warriors championship team, all these Hall of Fame players, come out so flat versus a team that's never been there before,
Yeah.
coaching staff that's never been there before, essentially, as in the head coach. So it's like, what do I expect for Game 4? Because right now, I think to me personally, Game 3 was a very probably the second most important game going to be in this series
Yeah.
to me, because if you are the Warriors and you go down 3-1, this shit over.
Yeah.
In my opinion, you not coming back. Boston gonna step on you.
Yeah.
That's just how they young, but they will step on you, and they ain't scared of nobody. So it's like you go down 3-1, it can get spooky. Now all the pressure is on Golden State, and I said it. I said Klay Thompson's gonna play great. I said Klay's gonna play a good game. Klay gave you the best game you gonna get.
Yeah. Get like
It took
25.
he gave you 25, and he went a little cold in that second half. He disappeared a
Yeah.
little bit. He shrunk a little bit when they needed him big time. But in his defense, every three that he shot, it was
It's
a dude in
tough.
his face and a dude behind him contesting this.
Yeah.
Off of these tough screens, like you had no breathing room.
Yeah.
Like I was like, man, these dudes can't breathe unless they ask for some air. Like they got to go ask Tatum, hey, yo, can we breathe real quick? Like, is
Yeah.
this cool? If I can get some air real fast? Like, he had to ask because they couldn't get nothing. Like Curry got banged up, and we all seen it.
Yeah.
This is why people lose when people say, "Oh, Curry couldn't play in the '90s," right? Because it was way more physical, right? Look what Boston was doing to him, and Boston is not even that physical compared to those teams in the '90s.
Yeah.
And he would have to take and make the hardest shots he's ever had to take. I think that I've personally watched, because he was hitting some deep twos, because you don't want no deep two. I don't care how good of a shooter you is, you don't want no deep two,
Yeah.
right? He was all over the floor. He was getting hand checked. They was bumping into him. All these things was allowed back in the '90s, right? I don't know. To me, I'm still going to hold with my Warriors in 7, but man, Game 3 was scary. I watched that game last night. I say, look at here, boy. I might have been wrong as hell
I
because
mean, but I
I
think just
don't
kind
know.
of pick it off with we saying they're a championship team, but when we look at their team, um, I mean, who was really still on their team that was a big factor when they was going to the finals against the Cavs?
But you
They
have the
have
core.
Draymond. They have Draymond. They have Clay. Clay hasn't played in 2 years. He played this season, but it take a while to get your legs up on you. He hasn't played in 2 years. Steph is gonna be Steph, but I think this series is showing a lot where KD helped them at a lot. Like
Proves my point about Katie.
yeah, but I think in these series when they was going against LeBron and they had KD to lean on, they could afford for Steph to have a bad game or for Clay to have a bad game because you got somebody over here, the Slim Reaper, gonna give you 40. And at that point, if KD dropping 40, which he was in the finals against LeBron, you really only need one other person to step up and give you 20, 25, play some good defense, and you like pretty good. But now in a series like this, if Steph have an off game, which he hasn't really been, I think he scored over 29 in each game.
Steph is
But
averaging 31 a night. He's
yeah,
fine. No one's
but
going
I'm
to slander
saying
Steph.
but I'm saying, like, besides Steph, it's very hard for the Warriors to score. Like Andrew Wiggins, this is his first time in the championship atmosphere. This is Jordan Poole, first time in the championship atmosphere. And those are their two. You can really argue that those are their two go-to scorers after Steph and Clay. And Clay is kind of Clay isn't playing like Clay. Clay had a good game last night, but as you said, I think Boston knows exactly how Clay has to score. Like Clay isn't somebody that's going to beat you off the dribble. Clay is going to come off a screen, pick and roll. Not even pick and roll. Somebody going to set an off-ball screen, come off, and then they kind of blitzing them on the screen. So when you kind of do that, it make it very, very tough for Golden State to score just because it's so predictable how they want to get their points. Even though it's kind of hard to stop a little bit, when they got to score, it's very predictable of how they want to score. We're gonna set this off ball screen for Clay. We're gonna hope somebody don't or somebody's not disciplined. Like I think it was one time in the game where Boston did the right thing, but Robert Williams literally took a second too late to step up, and Clay hit him. Clay hit the three, and the Celtics coach he got on them instantly. In the very next possession, they tried to do the same action, and Robert Williams came up. He blitzed him a little bit, and he made him a little bit uncomfortable. So I think Boston kind of knowing that they kind of like we're gonna force Clay to take these tough shots. If he make them, he make them. But then if Clay not shooting the ball and Steph not shooting the ball, we gonna take our chances with Andrew Wiggins and Jordan Poole shooting the ball, which they are very streaky scorers.
Yeah, I think touching on Clay, I think Clay obviously he's not healthy, right?
Yeah,
And I said that when this matchup first happened, right after Boston closed out Miami in 7. I said that when we did, if you go back, I said we gonna really see what Clay Thompson we gonna get because
yeah,
we already knew he wasn't healthy. Like you're not gonna be healthy after an Achilles and then an ACL, right? That's just you're not gonna be as healthy as you thought you were going to be, right? Um, and then he got away with it in the playoffs versus teams that were way less athletic, like
yeah.
Dallas, way less athletic. Like
And
he
they
can
play
even get
very
it,
slow.
and they play very slow. They're not even half the team, the defensive team that Boston is, for one,
Yeah,
right? And then they play Denver, who
yeah,
was hurt across the board, and then another team who was not even in the same atmosphere as Boston in the defensive term, right? So now you go from mediocre defense, I guess you could say subpar defense, to the damn best defense you could possibly get in the NBA
yeah,
versus dudes who are only 23, 24 years old, 25,
yeah. Young
whatever,
legs.
young, tall, right? They're big, they're athletic, they can move, they
Yeah,
hungry. That's the most scary part that they hungry. Like
yeah.
they were out there talking. I'm looking at the TV. I'm like, oh, this is getting scary, boy.
It
I
was
didn't
at
see
one
this.
point. It was at one point. I think Peyton Pritchard. I don't know if you've seen it or not. Peyton Pritchard made a play on Klay Thompson, and he was talking that cash money
Look at here.
mouth to Klay Thompson. I said, "Oh,
They
they feeling
confidence is
themselves."
through the roof. They
Oh yeah,
know that the Warriors cannot outplay them. Like not in no
yeah,
aspect. Like yeah, I mean, the Warriors can shoot. They have the greatest shooters of all time. Cool, that's nice. But we
yeah,
checking them. We blitzing screens.
yeah,
Boston can shoot the ball. Boston can get to the rim. Boston can out rebounded them. I'm watching the game. I'm watching Draymond lose every rebound.
yeah,
They gonna out rebound them because the Warriors are not big, right?
yeah,
That was the part I was like, I don't know, but then they were getting out rebounded, getting out hustled. There was so many loose balls. It was two that come back to my mind between Jaylen Brown and Draymond, I believe, that Draymond did not even get the ball, and it was
yeah,
twice. But he want to jump on Jaylen Brown and do all this
yeah,
extra stuff. I say, but no one's checking Draymond, right?
yeah,
Like there's no like the coach isn't like, yo, let's get out of all the bickering. Yo, let's do like the things that you need. I don't care how good Draymond is. I don't care if you want to say he's a Hall of Famer. In my eyes, he's not, right? But anyways, all these things about his game are showing up even more now that he was able to get away with when he was younger because he can move better.
he
Now he
got
just
better.
does all the things that I think he's not focused enough, right? And it's hard to say that when you're talking about a professional athlete who's in the NBA finals, who's a part of the reason that his team is there and part of the dynasty for a reason.
Yeah,
So it's hard to say that, but it's also hard to not think that when you watch it and you see the antics that he's doing. Like I don't ever recall besides the 2016 finals where I can remember Draymond just glaringly just grabbing your attention from the game. Like it's
yeah,
it's it's the game and then it's Draymond, right? And what he's doing is it was multiple times last night. I'm like, this dude's not here to play ball. Like he's not here to win. And the
yeah,
thing is, there's no one holding him accountable. Maybe Katie knew this and saw this. We don't know, right? There's no one holding him accountable, and maybe he thinks he's so high in the organization or whatever, he can get away with a lot of stuff. I didn't see Steve Kerr talk to him, right? I didn't
yeah,
see Steph talk to him. I didn't see Clay say anything to him, right? you need that. He may be a leader, but sometimes leaders have to be checked too.
Yeah.
You can't tell me that Jordan didn't check Dennis Rodman or vice versa. Like that has to happen because sometimes you can get away from what you need to be doing and your focus because he's going
Yeah.
back and forth with Grant Williams.
Yeah.
What
And
is
if you want
Grant
to,
Williams doing?
I was about to say, and if
Getting
you want to be
buckets.
honest, Boston would sacrifice Grant Williams getting ejected if that means Draymond Green is going to get
Like
ejected. Like
Draymond, you're
it
doing
don't
them a
mean the same
favor.
thing to their team. Yeah. So Draymond kind of playing into their hands.
And Grant Williams outplayed Draymond. He didn't have to do
Yeah.
all the antics. He didn't have to do the talking. He didn't have to do the arm grabbing, the
Yeah.
flopping, falling on dudes. He didn't have to do none of that. Like he didn't do none of that. He just what he did. He rebounded him. He outscored him. He out hustled him. He outplayed him in every aspect of the game
Yeah.
of game 3. That's not to say Grant Williams is a better player.
Yeah.
Grant Williams handled that situation a lot better because those guys listen to their coaches. Those guys are probably being accountable of each other because the Warriors, it's easy when you win so much and you're so accustomed to winning, you think and you just feel that, oh, well, we done been here before. We're going to do this. This is not nothing that we haven't seen. That's
Yeah.
cool. That means you still have to go out there and execute and attack and do the things you're supposed to go do. Just because you have experience on your side, that don't matter. Like you still got to go do it. You can talk whatever you want to talk in the press, right? And downplay things in the press and make it seem like, oh, we're not worried. You worried because when you get on that
Yeah.
court, we see worried. Because once them boys start to getting out in the fast break, that's the one thing that Boston hasn't really done a lot. They play a lot of half court ball against them and they're killing them, right? Just in that. But we seen a few times when they was getting steals and they was getting that ball out of transition.
Yeah.
You can't jump with Jaylen Brown. You can't do anything, right? And Steph had 4 fouls last night. He played with 4 fouls. Now, some of them was just some dumb fouls that he probably shouldn't just done,
Yeah.
right? But they were attacking him and they were bullying him all night long,
Yeah.
purposely running screens to get to him.
Oh yeah, and they was giving them work. And I got a quick question. Like, how you feel about these superstar players taking all these, like, you know how in the first quarter, second quarter they take like these petty take fouls,
Mm.
like just to stop transition, and then when they come deep down in the game, they done took 2 take fouls, and now they got 4 fouls in the third quarter, and they got a teeter. But I feel like sometimes just taking a take foul might not be worth. Just you might as well get them the 2 points, say the 1 foul, because now you take a little petty take foul. With I think it happened maybe game 2 or 3. It was either it was one of the superstars on one of the teams. They took a petty take foul. They picked up. I think it was Jaylen Brown, either game 1 or game 2, if I'm not mistaken. He took a petty take foul with like 10 minutes in the game, and then I think knowing Golden State, knowing he had maybe a foul, they like ran some action towards him, and he picked up that second foul like literally in like the next possession or maybe like a couple possessions before, and he had like 2 fouls with like 4 minutes into the game. And then I hear the commentators talk about all these take fouls, superstar taking take fouls. I feel like this been a series where at some point all the superstars been in foul trouble at some point, and a lot of these are happening because of these petty little take fouls that the NBA is taking away next year as well.
Yeah, I mean, my take on it is that who we don't like. Maybe it's a game plan,
Yeah,
right? Like maybe like they actually sit here and they game plan these things, right? Like that may be a game plan thing that they do just to stop or slow the game down, right? Like that may be something that they do. I mean, I don't like it because obviously you put yourself in jeopardy because you don't know how the game is gonna play out. Like you said, Jaylen
yeah,
Brown did the little take foul, come right back, boom. In less than 2 minutes, you got another foul. Now you sitting down early in the game or whatever
yeah,
part of the game. So you don't want to do that. And it just I think Boston can get away with it more than the Warriors can,
yeah,
right? Just because the Warriors don't really have people who can do this, do that.
yeah.
Like you need
They very limited.
like when Steph sat down in the third quarter, I don't think he should have sat in the third after a while.
Yeah,
Like he should have played. That's a game where a guy like LeBron James, a guy like even Kevin Durant, a guy like the top dogs,
they're
Giannis,
not getting out the whole game.
they're playing that whole game because you understand the pressure and the amount that this game holds.
Yeah,
You're not coming out like and credit to Steph because he played with 4 fouls. It's gonna be interesting to see how he looks coming back for Game 4 because one, it was hella physical on his body. He got banged up. The knee, the ankle, right, and all everything came back negative MRIs and things like that. But that takes a toll on a guy like Steph and the way he plays because he has to play so fast, right? All those things really factor into how he's gonna play.
Yeah.
So, I mean, previewing Game 4, I mean, this is the biggest game of the
It's a must
Warriors
win for the
season.
Warriors.
It's a must win, and it's so hard to win in Boston. Like it just throws me back to when Kobe was playing in Boston, the year that he lost to Boston, and the year that he beat Boston.
Yeah.
Those games were so hard to win, just in the fact that it's just a hostile ass place to play.
Hey,
Like
did you see Klay Thompson complaining about the crowd?
bro, that happens everywhere. Just because it doesn't happen in happy Oakland, it
Nah,
happens
and
everywhere.
somebody on Twitter was funny. They said this is what happened when you play Cleveland and Toronto in the finals, and like now you playing in a real
A real setting,
hostile
a real setting,
environment.
a
Like
real
I
MVP
think we
setting.
both mentioned the video at one point where after that Game 6 when LeBron beat the Celtics in that Game 6, he was walking to the locker room and somebody poured beer on him.
Yeah,
Like Boston is a place where, hey, listen, boy, you better come prepared. Your skin better be tough, because if it's not, they gonna take you out your game, which I think ultimately Boston probably did, and I think I think their fans know that. Like, listen, we throw a couple f-bombs at this dude. At some point, he not gonna be focused on the game. He gonna be focused at, man, these people calling me f this, f this, f this, and I mean, if you're an athlete, I feel like on that stage as well. I know myself as an athlete, that's something I kind of embrace. Like I looked at that, like people talking to me, that kind of like hyped me up a little bit. Not like I feel like now that Klay went to the media a little bit and he complained about it, I feel like now, boy, Boston might make it a point like, oh, you want to cry about it? We finna really like torture your ass now. So that can play out one way or another. But I mean, I don't think I really agree with him coming out and just saying, oh, Boston was throwing f bombs, and we feel this way as kids here. And half the time, man, the kids be the ones cussing the most. Klay Thompson, like it's Boston, man. Like, what do you expect?
it's funny because it's like I hate to use the word front runners, but maybe they're just front runners,
Yeah,
right? Like I can recall when we used to play in college when Utah would play USC. Every time they would come to us, right? Because our place was a little hostile. Like we had like 50,000 some people in there, but it was loud, like, and you could
yeah,
feel it, right? So every time they'll come over there, we'll smash them up,
hell
right?
yeah.
Smash them up because they front runners, right? If everything ain't going their way, they gonna start picking
They
things out.
cry. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh, this ain't going over this. This ain't this. That ain't this, right? So I hate to use the word front runner, but that's the first thing that comes to my brain,
I think it
especially
is.
when
I
Clay
agree
said
with you
that.
too, because I think Twitter is a place where whatever you say, they will pull out receipts. Where if you say the sky is red today, boy, they will pull out receipts of you saying last year, boy, you said the sky was blue. What you
Mm-hmm.
mean? So, ironically enough, you remember when the Warriors fans were bickering at LeBron and Draymond called LeBron, I don't want to say it on air, but he called him the P word,
Mm-hmm.
something like that to that effect. And Klay went in the post game conference. I literally just seen this like
Yeah, I remember you
right
talking
before the
about.
pod. He came in the interview. He was like, "Well, man, it's just words. Like, I guess he just got his feelings hurt." And he went on this whole rant about
Mm-hmm.
like it's just words, it's just words. And then now, 6 years later, you complaining about the fans using these words that it wasn't a problem when y'all was saying it to LeBron.
And
Like
LeBron, and
he
go
said
ahead.
he said Braun was sensitive, and then that's when LeBron
And Braun said,
put the
Braun said,
Batman.
Braun said, what did he say?
He said,
Oh,
"What
he
did
said
Clay
that.
say?"
Okay,
Oh, okay, all right. He said, "The dude, like I'm literally
three
reading the
one, three
transcript."
one.
And LeBron had the shades on, and
I said, okay.
that's probably what ended up happening then. But it was just funny enough for me to kind of see it, and then I was like, I totally forgot about that. But now that y'all bring it up, I do remember Clay had like he was so nonchalant, like, man, it's just words. Like,
But
come on,
why
like we're
though?
playing ball.
But why?
But now front runner. So now
They was
we
winning.
come up.
Everything
Now
was
they
smooth.
lose, and the crowd Not hey, losing is different in a hostile place because boy, they gonna tell you like everything you don't want to hear. Like you frustrated. I know I want to go to a game in Boston at least one time in my life where my Heat play Boston, and you know how I get on the away games. Even when I went to Buffalo, I like being in that atmosphere. Like I don't know, I may be a little weird. I like being in enemy territory. Like I kind of embrace going to Buffalo with my Steelers stuff on, kind of getting bickered at. But I don't know, man. Some people true colors are kind of getting pulled out. So now, like I said, now that Boston kind of heard that they ruffled Clay's feathers, in a way, boy. Listen, I feel like now more than ever they gonna give Clay like, oh yeah, we really finna. You thought those was bad F bombs, but we finna start calling you FP, every alphabet in the thing. So it's gonna be interesting to see. But you know, I think I had Warriors, and I told like I had Warriors at 5 or 7. I'm
I know
gonna
both.
stick with. I think the way I personally think this series is going to go, I think it's going to go flip flop, flip flop, flip flop. Because if you see a lot of the calls that the Warriors were getting in game 2, when Steph going to the hole and he fall on the floor, they didn't get them calls last night. And you know, Boston didn't really get too many calls, but I think it was more so Golden State not getting those calls. Because in my opinion, I feel like Boston has more ways to win than Golden State.
Way more ways.
Yeah,
Way
like
more ways.
Boston doesn't have to score 100 points if they want to win. Like, and the biggest adjustment I seen Boston make last night was when they put Al Horford and Robert Williams in there together, and Golden State tried to go small. And I think maybe it was 2 possessions with Golden State. They're like, oh boy, Golden State. But then for the next 5 6 minutes, boy, I think Golden State they couldn't buy a rebound. And it's like they had Draymond. I love Draymond. I love what he do on the court. But when you put him, and I think Robert Williams said, he said, I'm a grown ass man. And that's exactly what the hell he looked like against Draymond. 6'11" versus 6'6", and
Yeah, full
Draymond got a
block.
rebound and he ripped it out his hands like, listen, I'm a grown ass man. Like you a little boy. And I think once Boston, I love Boston for that. They one of them teams. They got that hard grit, nasty. If you want to get dirty, we can get dirty, grit, grind mentality. So I feel like Golden State. They used to having like people called them the pretty boys, and like when you play a little dirty with the pretty boys, they don't know how to react. So I think Boston is kind of slowly but surely figuring that out, and we gonna see how the Warriors gonna respond. Cause boy, they in some tough waters. Boy, that game 4 is a must win for Boston. I mean for Golden State.
Yeah. I mean, we gonna see what they do
Cause
because
I'm not even
we
sure at this point
we've not seen. I don't think we've seen them in this position.
fight adversity like this.
They haven't had to fight adversity like this. I can't remember probably since 2015. But it wasn't the same one because it was their first time in the finals. So if they would have lost, everyone would have been like, "Oh,
Yeah,
they're a young team. They'll be back." Right? Cool. They didn't lose, but on the flip side of it, they were down 2-1 to LeBron, but it was just LeBron by himself. The next
literally,
best player on LeBron's team was Matthew Dellavedova. It was literally a
dog.
time where
On the
Dellavedova was
graphic,
being called
the
the
second
Curry
best player,
stopper.
dog, and that was because he was just making it tough. And you can go back and look this up on the graphic of the 2015 finals, and it's crazy that
Yeah.
like LeBron.
Shannon Fry probably was on there.
I'm a big LeBron fan, and people really hold these losses. They be like LeBron went 3-6, but I said at one point. '07, LeBron was a rookie. He wasn't supposed to be in the finals. It was a blessing he got to the finals. And then with that Golden State team, it was like, dog, on the graphic, they literally had, it was on this side, it was Steph, Clay, and Draymond. And on LeBron's side, it was LeBron, a 37-year-old Kyle Korver, and Tristan Thompson.
Oh, brother.
Like, come on, man.
Proves my
So
point.
like you said, man, this may be Boston. I mean not Boston, but Golden State first time like on this stage, on the final stage, because they faced adversity going against these Houston teams with James Harden, but in the finals, for the most part, when they beat LeBron in 6, and then that next year they lost to LeBron, and then once they got KD, the finals never went past 5 games. So you can really argue like they
That
really
was even
haven't seen they really haven't faced like any real adversity in the finals. And I don't even consider the 2015 year adversity because y'all were
everybody was hurt. Yeah.
hands down the better team. Like they could have been down 3-1 and people probably would have still been like, Golden State is going to win this series just because they're the better team.
Yeah. So we're gonna see because now you gotta older guys. I mean, either way it goes, I mean, the first 3 games, Steph is not the culprit. You can't point finger at him in no way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
Draymond is terrible. And speaking of Draymond, as we go to our next point, um, one thing that bothers me the most, I think about him is it's not even all it's all this is it is mostly it's 80% all the shit that he does on the court, right? That doesn't result in baskets. It just results in stupid
Attention.
stuff, attention. And this makes other guys play better. Like this like Jalen
Yeah.
Brown, Robert Williams, those guys get turned up
All
about
guys
this
don't
type of stuff.
shrivel up under pressure when you talk trash to them. Everybody just don't go in this hole. Sometimes you wake up a sleeping bear and you like, all right, you want to
That's what
talk now? All right,
like
let's do it then.
certain teams you could do that against. This
Yeah.
Boston team, no. Like, look at this Boston team's track record.
Look
Look
what you
who they
see.
went through
Yeah.
and what they kept saying in the media. We not scared of nobody. We gonna have to play y'all at some time anyway, so it don't matter.
Oh yeah, and I mean, if you want to be honest, that I kind of had a lot of respect for Boston. I seen this way back, when everybody wanted Boston to lose the Duck, Brooklyn.
Yeah,
I think, and this probably what you was alluding to. They was like, man, listen, we not scared of nobody. If we
nobody.
play Brooklyn first round, who cares? We gonna play Brooklyn first round. Like if you want to, hey, Milwaukee Bucks, them boys set Giannis and them boys down. You feel me? Them ducking. And the Celtics, they were like, man, listen, like you say, at some point we got to play them. So why not now? Why not us? And sure enough, they
When Al Horford
get
dunked
up out of
on
there.
Giannis,
Yeah.
that that's a different team.
And in that game before that, you remember Giannis dunked on him and he gave him the
And they
look
didn't.
like, boy,
They
how
like
dare
okay.
you?
He's like
And
okay,
then Al Horford looked at him, he was like,
like okay, cool.
and them boys wake up. So if you want to be honest, Boston has proven time and time again that when somebody wants to clown or when somebody want to tote their guns or drop their nuts against them, they're more than willing to be like, I bet that's what we're gonna do. Let's do it.
They gonna
And
drop
I
him
feel
right with
like
you.
they got more soldiers than Golden State because Golden State they really have Draymond and that's it. And Boston they got Grant Williams. Even though he's not the best player, his job is literally to do what Draymond do. But like it's like we don't need you to score 40, so just go out here, go put all this 280 you got, bump these boys around, pick up a foul here and there, move around, and that's that. So I think Draymond get too caught up in the media where he actually like listens to what people say like you're the enforcer, but you also the second best playmaker on your team, if not the best playmaker on your team. So as bad as you want to be this bad boy, for your team, you play so many other parts where sometimes you don't always need to be the bully. Sometimes you need to be the playmaker, the Draymond that had 15 assists in the playoff game. But I think that's on the coaching staff to figure out. It's also on Draymond because I feel like coaching can only do so much, especially with a team like this is their fifth time going to the finals. So I feel like a lot of times Steve Kerr probably just looks at them like, I'm a coach, I draw up a play, but at the end of the day, y'all got to play basketball and figure it out.
Yeah. Going back to Draymond real fast. I was saying, like the 80% of it is the basketball stuff, right? I mean, for as much as he talks, like I'm not a talker. That's just me personally. I've never been a talker on in sports, right? Um, I just show up and I just do what I'm supposed to do. That's it. I do my job, do it at a high level, and I go home.
Yeah.
It's just me. I leave all the talking to everybody else. I've never had no one talk smack to me that I can vividly remember, right? And usually, the quieter you are, the more shit talk you're gonna get from somebody.
Oh yeah.
For me, I've never had that, right? Why? Because the way I played talked enough for me. This bothers me on a personal level is the fact that he talk all damn day, right? You see him talking, right? You see him talk. Then you go on social media and you see him typing what he's saying. I'm like, why am I seeing Draymond Green? Right now, everyone is different. Everyone has their own way of going about things, right? So it's not a knock against him. But why am I seeing Draymond Green go back and forth with Kevin Durant on Twitter about a pod that he did with somebody else
Yeah.
about Kevin Durant and seeing him go back and forth with Kevin Durant on Twitter about this? Why is that such something you feel like you need to do? right? And again, this goes back to talking about his podcast. It's just the fact that he literally after games he goes to the hotel or
In the
his home
finals as well.
and goes on his pod. Like he goes live on his pod.
Literally.
And it's like, yo, if I'm an athlete, dude, if I'm on my podcast after the game, that is a serious problem. Only way
I'm
I'm getting
looking
on my
at,
podcast after my game, I better have 150 to 20 yards rushing.
and even then, shit, I want to go home. I want to chill.
That too. But if I'm going on there, I better have the best game of my life. If I just gave you 25 yards and a fumble, and I came on here and I'm talking smack, oh well, we gonna be all right. I'm gonna be straight. I ain't worried. What are we doing?
Yeah.
Is it to the point where you are so much worried about the media and your job after basketball? Essentially, I mean, you don't really need it. I'm sure he's well off throughout
Yeah.
basketball, but are you already trying to catapult your next career so
I
much
mean,
because
he
he had
already
a
signed a
deal?
contract with TNT.
Yeah, so because he had a deal with First Take that he could have taken, right? But is it like what is your goal here? Because if I'm going to go outside, I'm going to go play a game in the NBA Finals, right? And after all the things that I've said in the past, oh KD, blah, we don't need him, all this type of stuff. He's
Yeah.
probably the reason Kevin Durant really left them,
He
right?
said we don't need you.
Yeah, we don't need you. So he's probably the reason Kevin Durant left. If I'm going to go give you 2 points, I think 3 or 4 rebounds, or it was 2, 4, 3, whatever it was, the
Yeah,
stat
two,
line
three,
was.
four. Yeah.
If I'm going to go give you that, I don't need to be doing no pod. Like, if I'm a player, I need to be asking. If I'm Curry, I'm Clay, I need to be like, yo, we know you better than this. Like, he's never been no great scorer. Like, everybody know that. Like, it's like, okay,
Yeah.
whatever. But it's the fact that what are you doing, bro? Like, your pod is so important to you, which it should be, but it's a time and a place when you need to be doing that because it goes back to what I said. Like, is he really focused on helping his team win this NBA Finals matchup where he knows it's not like he's a fifth, sixth role player? Like, yo, you're the third guy, and he's the offense when it
Yeah.
goes to playmaking. Like,
Yeah.
he's the one that comes up the court. Like, what are you doing? And I don't like the fact that Steve Kerr has gotten away from him running a lot of the offense because when Jordan Poole checks in and it's Jordan Poole and Draymond on the court, it's the ball is going in Jordan Poole's hand to play make, and he's
It's
not
a
a
dribble
playmaker.
show.
Yeah, he's not a playmaker. He can't
Yeah.
get and off of Draymond for a second. Jordan Poole irks my nerves too, in the fact that everyone and I was on here saying, "Oh, he's better than Tyler Hero," and I think from a talent level, he is. Now, as a basketball player, he has a lot to learn because he didn't get, I don't believe he got even drafted in the NBA. I think he was like in the
Now
G
he got
League.
drafted. He got drafted like 27th overall, late
Okay.
first round.
But was he in the G League for a year or something like that?
Yeah, he was in the G League last
Okay.
year.
So obviously that tells you need to develop,
Yeah.
right? And he's developed to a point where he's a big factor on the team, but it also goes to show he's not experienced in these situations at all. Obviously, just the playoffs period, because it's not just the finals where he's been showing inexperience and all that stuff. It's been these entire playoffs where he's had some good moments and he had some real dull moments.
Yeah.
And Boston is killing him, and he's game one, he tried to do way too much. Game two, he settled down a little bit. Game three, he reversed right back to what he was doing in game one.
Yeah.
And he's not a playmaker. So I don't understand and I'm just watching the TV, right? I'm not around these dudes every day. I'm not coaching these dudes. But I really want to know what Steve Kerr sees in his playmaking ability from Jordan Poole versus what he would see out of Draymond Green's playmaking ability, which would allow a guy like Poole to come off of screens, to run actions, to cut to the basket, and Draymond can set him up versus him dribbling and trying to do all these things because he's not a pick and roll guy. You can't run pick and roll with Draymond. So it's like, it's kind of weird to see because I'm like, every time they would inbound the ball go from Draymond and then he'll throw it back to Jordan Poole. I'm like, why the hell is Jordan Poole continuously coming up the court with the ball? Because he can't run offense. It was one thing, he holded the ball for like 18 seconds.
Just to shoot a tough shot.
Just to shoot a tough ass shot. And I'm like, If Jordan Poole's on the court by himself or with Klay Thompson, cool. Let him be the main ball handler. But if he's on the court with Steph, or if he's on the court with Draymond, he should not be the primary ball handler in that offense, because the offense does not flow right with him, and it just does not look right at all. And like I don't hear enough people talking about Jordan Poole, because when he does so much good things, it's like, oh, the third splash brother. You have all these nicknames for him. Da 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 da. And I'd be on his coattail too. I'd be like, yeah, I like him over Hero.
Yeah.
But when I look back at it, I'm like, when he plays bad and he does the immature things, I'm like, yo, what are you doing? Like, you see him, he's damn near falling with the ball all game. He's trying to shake dudes with the ball. He's not even putting dribble moves together, right? I don't see any dribble moves, right? He don't got no punch move, no steps, no nothing. He just got the little juke this way, juke that way. Fam, you're not juking these people.
Yeah.
You're not doing that. Like, these are also pros. Like, maybe you got away with that in the G League, but you're not finna just dribble, juke, shoot a ball, and it's gonna go in the net. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Even Curry don't just juke, and shoot a damn ball. At least he puts some shit together. Now, maybe that's his next evolution of his game, and we have to wait and see. But he's killing the Warriors offensively, and he's not the greatest defender either. So it's just like you said, how you alluded, Boston just has so much more dudes who they don't have to depend on to have a great game.
Yeah.
Like, Tatum doesn't have to have a great game to win. Brown doesn't have to have a great
As we
game
saw
to
in game
win.
two. I mean game one.
Exactly. Like, Al Horford doesn't have a great game to win. These guys just have to contribute in some type of a level. For the Warriors, Jordan Poole has to have a really good game to win. Andrew Wiggins, he had 18 points. On a stat, if you go on Google and you type in the Warriors versus Celtics, and the first thing you see, oh, well, he had 18 points. Well, the dude, Andrew Wiggins, played 40 goddamn minutes.
Yeah.
He played 40 minutes with 18 points, which isn't terrible. I mean, a lot of people can't do that. But if you look at his shooting, I seen this dude miss at least 4 or 5 threes wide open.
Open threes, corner threes, top of the key, everything.
And I'm like, damn. But it goes back to what you said. Boston is allowing Jordan Poole, to some degree, Jordan Poole. They've been clamping him.
Yeah.
They're allowing Draymond to get whatever he wants on the 3-point line. They're allowing
Draymond
Wiggins
wants to shoot 10
yeah.
threes. They let him shoot 10 open threes.
They're allowing Wiggins to shoot the ball, like, because these dudes are they're not great 3-point. They can do it, but it's streaky as hell. So they're allowing certain things, and it's crazy to see how the Warriors. Because remember we talked about it. Oh, did the Warriors replace KD with Wiggins? And right now,
KD with nobody.
Now, I was like, yeah, we was really disrespecting KD in a sense, because now you can't sit here.
If I'm not mistaken, I don't think I was a part of that conversation.
Well, I'm just saying, like, everybody. I'm just saying everybody.
Oh yeah,
like,
yeah.
It's way more people than just us that think, oh well, like, that think like me, and the fact that, oh well, KD was ring chasing, they didn't need him. Boom, 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 boom. But I did say, now I said all of those things, and I don't love the move to this day. I never will like the move. Kevin Durant did a bigger favor to Steph Curry than Steph Curry did for him.
They provided the environment, and he provided the safety net of, like, listen, I'm not gonna let us lose. So
yeah,
it was a real deal win-win, because I feel like if KD doesn't go to Golden State, maybe they don't go to another finals. But due to the fact that he went there and they already had a well-oiled machine, it's like them boys had a Corvette, but when KD got there, he turned that motherfucker into a Bugatti.
It's just like they say,
and everybody else had a Honda Civic.
The rich get richer, and that's what happened. They was already good. They just got 30 times better, and with nobody on the earth that can beat them. LeBron gave them 51. LeBron gave them 51 in game one, and guess what?
51, 8, and 8.
You can't beat it, right? You can't beat it, and they definitely miss those times. And I think they got accustomed to riding that train so easily, and they knew no one could mess with them, because as soon as KD got hurt, because if you look at it, Steph is 1-2 without Kevin Durant in the NBA Finals. With him, he's 2-0. Without him, he's 1-2. Now, are we going to see 1-3? And this is not Steph's fault at all. Are we going to see 1-3? It just happens that he just happened to have Kevin Durant come over there, and that combination, you know, just kind of fused his legacy, where those two are always going to be compared together now. Like he
Yeah.
can't get away from it, and that's not his fault, but it is what it is. But he definitely needs to win one post KD,
Yeah.
and Boston is giving them everything that they possibly got, and it's definitely gonna go seven still, I think. But it's this series is definitely better than what the hell I thought it was gonna be.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I
That's
think I expected it to be. I slept on Boston a little bit, but
I definitely slept on
just
Boston.
just watching them a little bit. Like, I mean, I watched them play every game against the Heat, and even the games where we won, Boston was winning 3 out of the 4 quarters, and we just happened to have a good quarter. How the Warriors did in the third quarter,
Mhm.
they're like Boston would beat us quarter one, quarter two, and quarter four. We'll have a big third quarter to cover and win the game, but man, them boys are dangerous, and I think sometimes experience may be a little overrated because sometimes, man, like you say, Steph, Draymond, Clay, they all got 3 rings already. So you can argue, are they as hungry as Jason Tatum, Jalen Brown, and this whole Celtic team that's trying to get their first ring? So I'm not sure. We will never know. But man, sometimes when you chasing that first one, they might be way more hungry than these guys that's trying to get a fourth one and just kind of cement their legacy. Jalen Brown, Jason Tatum, they trying to just this ring will kind of boost them to a level where you can't just compare them to anybody no more. Like you're gonna have to be like, well, JT, he was the best team on the championship team. He got a Finals MVP. So now, I'm sorry, but you got to put him in front of Luca after if he gets a ring, and you can't really argue with that. Like they do some of the stuff, but hey, he was the best team on the championship team. So
Yeah,
we're gonna see.
yeah, we're gonna see. But like you said, real fast before we move on to our next topic, even if Tatum does win this championship, he's the MVP, Eastern Conference Finals MVP, which I think is a dumb trophy, just because the
Oh
fact
yeah,
that if we were gonna have that, why the hell they just thought about it now in 2022?
yeah,
Because if you think about it, LeBron would have had at least 10 of them. But
he
anyways,
would have had everyone.
if Tatum does win this MVP of the finals, which is going that direction, he just became he just uh, it's more in his favor right now if they do
I
win.
think I think right now, boy, this might be JB. I'm not lying to you.
I seen it. It was at first it was Curry when it was 1-1. Now that it's 2-1, it's went back over in favor of uh what's his name, Tatum, because everyone's given even after the series and these games and whatever, they've given the Warriors like a 12% chance of winning the finals.
Yeah,
So it's been Tatum the whole time, and I think he's played great basketball in every game, even the games that he shot terrible. Because like last night, he didn't shoot the best in the world, but he had
yeah,
8 assists, and he still gave you 26. So he's averaging 25. He's probably somewhere averaging 25, 7, and 7. So
yeah.
you can't uh, look at his stats and be like, okay. But JB is great, playing great like he's supposed to. But like I was gonna say, even if he does win MVP, I still personally think Luca is a better player than
Oh,
him,
for sure. I'm saying, but
individual.
when
Yeah,
people talk legacy and stuff, they bring up rings and all this stuff, and I feel like just on a stat on the
I'm sure Luca
numbers
will be
wise,
there one
people
day.
has had that Tatum. Oh no, Luca for sure. Luca skill wise, you
We,
can argue, man, he might
you
be
never know. We
top
might we
three.
might see we might see Luca versus Tatum here soon in their careers. It's
Hopefully,
hard to say you won't. I hope we do see it, because
yeah,
I think Tatum and Brown gonna be together for a while, and those two, Jalen Brown in these finals has only looked even better than he's ever looked.
nah, for
And that's
sure.
just going to boost his confidence through the max. But yeah, that's game 4 is tomorrow night. So make sure you guys
Yeah,
check that out.
Jalen Brown is
Um,
averaging 23 points, 7 rebounds, and 4 assists in the NBA Finals so far.
he's looking like D Wade.
Nah, D
Just
Wade
looking like
averaged that or
D-Wade.
something.
Yeah, that was the one year he was by his damn self. But after
That
that,
was
he
his
damn
first
sure ain't
title.
do that. Yeah, his first one, but he damn sure ain't do that after that. Um,
He ain't need to. He got LeBron.
exactly. And Brown got Tatum, so he don't know how to do all that. But moving on, out of NBA, I think this is a hot topic that I want to get started. Um, College football top 5 all-time teams. Um, I'm gonna go first and I think maybe we'll be on the same level when it comes to the first three. Maybe definitely the first two,
Okay.
but the first three maybe. And then the bottom two is gonna be hard to figure out who to put in there. And I can't wait to see what like all the listeners kind of chime in and what they think because it's so hard to pick right now. I'm not finna pick teams from like the 1950s. Like I'm not finna do that.
Yeah, I don't know about nothing about them.
Yeah, like I was looking it up and I was trying to get more of a more clearer idea of these like what teams I could possibly think about that I not just that I've maybe overlooked that I've
Yeah.
actually seen as well, but just to get some like okay, let me see right and every team was damn near in the 2000s. So it was
Yeah.
hard for me to be like, damn, like this 80 88 Miami Hurricanes team was tough. Sorry, I can't do that. Or this 78 Alabama team was tough. No, I like ball was different then. So no. But my first team is obviously the 2000 2001 Hurricanes.
Yeah, they're number one on
Um,
my list,
that
hands down.
that should be the number one team across the board for everyone, right? Not just off the fact of what they did in college ball, but the fact of what they did in the draft, for one, right? And then what they all those players did in their NFL careers,
Yeah.
right? And that's kind of more of how I'm ranking my top five list. It's more of joint success in college ball and the pros.
Yeah.
Um, so obviously the 2000 2001 Hurricanes is number one. Um, Two, I would have to go with the '08 Gators. Um, and it's a that's tough to go with the Gators at two, just because I was battling between the Gators or the 2011 2012 Bama
Yeah.
football team, and I gave a slight edge to the Gators personally just because I don't know. I think around that time, that's when I was like really like more into ball, and you had Tim Tebow, who was um, more of a character that I
Yeah.
could remember, especially being younger. So he was more of a character in my eyes, and like he I remember the game where they're playing in the rain, and he's half his jersey's like muddy and
Red.
red,
Yeah.
and I'm like, this motherfucker looked like a superhero. Like
Yeah.
he looked like a gladiator. So it's like when I picture those things and I think about sitting there watching YouTube, watching Percy Harvin highlights, Jeff Demps, Chris Rainey, uh, all these dudes, they had the whole team was stacked.
Yeah.
So I gotta go with them at two. I'll probably go with the 2000, 2012, I mean 2011, 2012 Bama team at three. Um, and then I gotta go with the 20. This is hard. 2019
Oh yeah, they got to be in
LSU.
there.
LSU at four.
Because if you want to talk about that same NFL success, it was not necessarily NFL success because they all still super young, but they had
Yeah.
a crazy draft too. Like they had a lot of first, I think five first rounders if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
Because they had Joe, Clyde went first round, Justin Jefferson went first round, Jamar Chase went first round. They had, if I'm not mistaken, one of their linemen maybe went first round as well, but they had like a lot of
Patrick
first
Queen,
rounders.
linebacker, I believe, went first.
First round to Alabama, to Baltimore. Um,
Even
they got some
even
pieces.
even the 20, I can't remember what year. I think it was the 2020 Alabama team. With all those dudes that they put in the league that year, with Mac Jones
Oh,
and
Judy.
Waddle, Jude, like all those dudes that they just had as well. Now, it's hard for me to put them in the top five just because you have to think about teams like think about the 20 like Alabama for one has too many damn teams, right?
I ain't gonna lie on my list. I just had Alabama.
Straight through
That's it. I
after
no no
my
no. I'm talking about just like as one spot. It's just Alabama, because I mean, so many of their teams. It's like it's so interchangeable. They have the same system. They have a great
yeah.
running back, a very average quarterback, a great defense. Like I don't like. It's hard to compete, like put their teams against each other because when you look at any of their defenses, dog, you see nothing but stars all across,
Yeah.
all across, all across. And when you go back in time and you look at um, I think like a Bama team from 5 years ago, and they just pull up their starting defense like how they do like before the game start or like first drive. You look at
Yeah.
all these names, you like, okay, he in the NFL, he okay, okay, and before you do, it, you like, man, 8 out of 11 of these guys are playing on Sundays, and they are making a big impact on whatever team they on. So I just got Bama, just
At
Bama
two.
has one. My number one spot is the Hurricanes. It's different for me because I don't know how close that 2019 because I no that 2019 LSU team is outrageous because I don't see a lot of them teams competing with them.
Let me ask you
Like
this. Let me throw a wrench in that.
everybody they played that year, they damn near ran through.
Let me throw a wrench in that though. Let me throw a wrench in that. I'm gonna throw three teams at you. Right? I'm gonna throw three teams at you. Um, Teams that I just forgot about because I'm gonna have to go
Okay.
back and I had to change my list up because whoever I had at three might have to move somewhere. The '04 USC Trojans with Reggie Bush,
I
Leonard,
had them
all
on
those dudes.
mine. I had
Okay.
them Reggie Bush.
That Texas team, Vince Young, them, Jamal Charles, and that whole
Yeah.
list. 2015 Ohio State.
2015
Zeke,
Ohio State was mean.
Zeke, Michael Thomas. The list goes on with that team.
Yeah.
Even the dudes who was red shirt and goddamn it.
I about to say I wouldn't be surprised if Joe Burrow was on that team, just a backup. I'm not even sure
And I think he was 16. I think he's out. Yeah, he was
because
he was at Ohio State. Yeah, yeah, yeah. He was
he
at Ohio State.
graduated 2015. So oh no, I think he might have
I
just
think he was
reached
out.
there.
Yeah,
He might have came in at 2016.
yeah. So those three teams, and then also the 2018 Clemson Tigers with
That 2019 LSU team is 1,000% in my top five.
oh yeah, definitely top five. But go from one through five.
I ain't gonna lie, I got '01 Hurricanes. Just due to the fact they had my favorite player of all time, Sean Taylor. He was a backup. He was a backup. Um, I think Bama done did so much for this game. Bama has to be number two in my book. I'm sorry. And like I said, I don't got no specific years for Bama. That motherfucker is just Bama. Interchange all them other teams. It's the same thing. Great defense, great offense. I'm gonna have that LSU Tigers team at number
At three.
three. At three, um, this is where it get a little tricky. I definitely got to throw that Tebow team in there. '08, '07, '08. I think they went back to back, so it really is interchangeable with that. But that Tebow era at Florida for sure, just because they had a crazy team as well. But after that, so what I got two spots left or one spot.
One I think
That
you
one
got you
spot
got you got Hurricanes, Bama, LSU,
in Florida.
Florida. Yeah,
It might have to be between that that Ohio State team or Reggie Bushner, man, because I remember personally the impact that Reggie Bush had on college football, and I remember vividly. I had the old Xbox, the black with neon green. They had the big X in the middle. I used to play NCAA '05, and I used to run one play halfback slam with Reggie Bush, literally. And they had who was the other running back they had that was next? I think
Lindale White,
yeah, and they had was his quarterback Carson Palmer?
Lightning, and Thunder, and they
Yeah,
had Matt Leinart. They
yeah,
went.
Matt Liner.
I think Leinart won '04 Heisman, Reggie won '05, or it might be in the
Yeah,
switched around. That is hard as hell to not put that team to literally have two.
that's what I'm
You know how
saying.
hard it is for a school to get a Heisman winner, period. And then if you were to win one, you know how hard it is for your school to win
Another one.
another one. To think
It's a
that you
different
had
player.
both of these on the same team, and they win back to back. And the only reason then they lost to Vince Young them, which was
Yeah,
the greatest college football game of all time. It
yeah,
literally took the greatest college football game of all time for them to not win back to back natties.
yeah.
That is look. I'm taking Bama out of my top three. SC is in the top three for me.
And I'm sorry for all the old heads too. That I was born in '97, so I can't do too much commenting on everything that happened before that. I'm a history head, but
This is a
just off the
2000s top
top,
five.
yeah, these, I might be a little biased, but I do respect the Hurricanes that had Michael Irvin and all them boys back in the day.
Them teams ain't top
Um,
five. No, they great, but
this
they ain't top
the
five.
Florida State team that had Peter Ward. A lot of people argue P Dub might be one of the best college football players of all time, up there with Reggie Bush. Um, but yeah, man, my top five consists of people that I had the chance of growing up seeing, and I think even that Hurricanes team, I was still a little young, but I understood what was going on because I was like 4 years old, and I knew that we had a good team. I used to go
You
to
know
always
it
go
because
watch the
we from
games.
where we from.
Yeah, but
Simple.
my first time, like really vividly, my mom, I made my mom buy me a Reggie Bush jersey. I think they sold it at Target or something. It ain't have his last name on the back. It just looked like a Reggie, like a USC jersey, and it had number 5 on it with that crimson and yellow. I made my mom buy that jersey because that was the first time I remember as a kid. I used to literally tune into the games to watch number 5 for this USC team play, and I used to play with him on the video game. So Reggie Bush definitely got to be in my top 5.
Yeah, like it's that ST team is number two.
Yeah,
Let me take Florida out of number two and put them maybe three or four,
yeah,
um, because that that SC team is ridiculous. Like if you watch the tape, like if you actually sit back, because I played on the West Coast, going playing in Utah,
yeah,
and then playing at SC, I played at SC maybe twice. Um, Playing in that stadium, just off the fact that like the first time I ever played at the Coliseum was 2017, sophomore year, and we get there. My coach is hyping me up. He's like, "This is where the legends play." Da 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 da. I'm like, "Yeah, I know. Trust me. Like, I know this stadium. Like, this is it. It was crazy because I played SC my freshman year. And they came to Utah, so it was different. Like, they had a Dory Jackson, they had Juju,
yeah,
Sam Darnold. My freshman year, we played them, and we was able to get the win over them at home. But the second year, we went down there to SC, and when you know how LA is. Like you get in LA,
yeah,
you feel different. Like everything about you
yeah.
just you like. I don't care where you from.
You feel a little
When you get
different. You
there,
look at that
yeah.
gas, that motherfucker costs $9.
When you
I
get
feel very different.
when you get to LA, you feel totally different. You like this place is just a vibe. Like
Yeah,
everything is just
definitely.
different. It's like hold on now. Like you feel like a super famous ass person. Like you just chilling. So when
Yeah,
we got there, I literally remember the whole thing, and I'm like, we get to the stadium, we pull up to the stadium, right? We passing, Staples Center to get there. We going. And SC is right in the hood, like it's literally right in the
yeah.
hood. Like it's SC, go across the street,
Literally,
the hood,
literally,
right?
literally.
So we get to the stadium, and I'm looking, right? Oh, I'm like, damn, this looks just like everything I've seen on it. I'm like, this shit crazy. Like this place is nice. It wasn't like no huge. It didn't come off as no huge stadium like a Penn State or those type of
Yeah,
places. But I'm like, damn, this like the Olympics being there, all just type of stuff that you just know from the past about this stadium. He's like, damn. And then when you get there, you walk down the tunnel on one side of the wall, they got all the guys who've been in the NFL. They got all the guys who won the Heisman. They got all this All American stuff. They got just everything. And the wall, damn near don't got no room on it for nobody
yeah,
else. Right? Like they're gonna have to start another side for all the new guys. Right. And I'm looking at it and I'm walking on the field. I'm like, ooh, like this place is crazy. And the only reason
yeah,
I know this stuff is because of this '04 team.
yeah,
Like, there's no other SC team that comes to your mind outside of Reggie Bush, Matt Lyon, and Lindell White, and those guys. Like, there's
yeah.
none. Like, that's the first thing I thought about. I said, damn, these dudes played on this field. I got to go out here and have a good game. I
Definitely.
hit them for 150, but I was like, this place is legendary as hell. Like, when I think about it now, I'm like, this place is legendary as shit. Like, for Reggie Bush to go out there and do what he did, Lindell to do what he did, and to have literally two Heisman winners in the same backfield, back to back years,
Yeah,
that is unthinkable. That'll never happen again.
yeah,
Simple as that. Like there will never be a quarterback and a running back to win the Heisman in back-to-back years on the same damn team. Like not
Yeah.
where the quarterback wins it and he goes to the NFL, then the running back wins the next year. No, I'm talking about motherfuckers both got the trophies at home
Your
in the same
turn. Now
season.
it's my turn.
You know what I mean? Like that's wild. Like
Yeah.
that's never happening again. So they definitely number two. I wish they would have. I think they get slated a little bit just because Vince Young did get him um in that
But it
natty.
took a legendary performance to
It
beat
took
them.
a legendary performance and a bonehead play, a play that a lot of people don't remember. Reggie Bush trying to lateral the ball.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, a lot of people don't remember that. Him trying to do that, I'm like, Reggie, what the not necessary, which is probably a bigger reason that he lost. But anyways,
Yeah.
um, it took a legendary performance, like you said, for them to win that game. And if it wasn't for that, you talking about a team that won two natties in a row, two Heisman trophies in a row. Like
Yeah.
that, saying that in the same sentence doesn't even sound real. Like that sounds like some some Madden or NCAA football stuff that you do when you go play like
Yeah.
Lil My Play or
Definitely.
something. Like that's wild. But SC definitely two now. Three would have to be maybe the 19 LSU team. No, not when I'm thinking about it, when because you talked about it and make your points on it. LSU was nasty. To think they have, to think that they had literally two of the, I guess, it's kind of hard to say they two both are top five receivers right now. But it's
But
hard
if
not.
somebody said it, boys, you
It
wouldn't look at him like you crazy as hell.
yeah,
Like,
you
boy, you
wouldn't look
like,
at you like because a lot of people
man,
thought Justin Jefferson was not going to be as good as what he is,
that boy is a beast, boy.
right? Like a lot of people didn't think that, but
Yeah.
when you think Jamar Chase, you think Justin Jefferson, and then you think Joe Burrow, just those three right there is ridiculous because now you're talking about. Is it hard? Is it fair to say Joe Burrow is a top five quarterback in the league?
Man, listen. They
I
was
don't want to
throwing
say
Justin
it.
Herbert. They was throwing Justin Herbert in the top five, and he didn't do. He hasn't even made to the playoffs yet.
Hey,
So,
well, look at here. We're not
but I
gonna
think
disrespect her.
personally speaking to me, I got Brady. I got A Rod. You can fill in for me if I'm missing somebody. I got Brady. I got A Rod.
Josh,
Um, Josh for sure. Pat.
it's full.
Um,
It's tough.
and I mean,
You
personally, like he get a lot of flack from people, but the only person I would respect when we still got Russ out there. Russ had a down year, but just I don't like how people be skipping over Lamar Jackson. Like these people that they be putting in front of Lamar Jackson, they don't have a resume that Lamar Jackson got. Like Lamar Jackson, he hasn't made it to the Super Bowl yet. He got playoff wins, and he has won an MVP his first full season as a starter. If him not being a backup, the first season he started every single game for his team, he won MVP. So the only person that I can respect people putting in front of him would be Joe Burrow because he made it to the championship through the circumstances that he was. Nobody expected him to go to the championship. I think I might have been one of the few people that picked the Bengals to beat the Chiefs. I got people that can vouch for that too. I picked the Bengals to beat the Chiefs when they did.
mm-hmm.
But I think, man, if somebody said Joe Burrow top five, I'm not looking at him crazy. But
It's
one
just
person that I
it's just
would say you
hard.
put in front of him would be Lamar Jackson. But you know, Lamar Jackson get a lot of flack for him not being a passer and him not being this. But man, everybody don't do the same thing. Everybody not gonna be a Tom Brady, and I think people just criticize Lamar Jackson. It may be because his skin color. Because I mean, if you want to be honest, a lot of the things that they said that Lamar is reckless with his body, and you don't hear a lot of them saying things about Josh. And Josh might be even a little bit more reckless, but he's bigger. He's 6'5", and him always being my fantasy quarterback. I appreciate him putting his head down and stuff, but I just see I see the hypocrisy, if that's how you say it, of them when they talk about Lamar Jackson running and Josh running, and even these other running quarterbacks, even Kyler Murray, they when they talk about Lamar Jackson, his running ability, they just forget that he can throw the ball. And I think the year he won the MVP, he led the NFL in passing touchdowns. So it's
Yeah,
just we can
I
get into
think.
a debate. That's a whole other separate debate. I feel like.
I mean, we can move forward. We can move closer to it because I have my thought about that. I think when people go harder on, personally, I think people go harder on Lamar than they do Josh because Lamar is a running quarterback at the end of
Yeah.
the day.
Oh yeah,
Like in
Josh will go
college,
first.
yeah, like college, that's what he did. That's why we know him. We don't know Lamar for essentially the outstanding passes, right? You
Yeah.
know him more of what he did with the ball and his feet, right? Not his fault. He's a the damn the best dual threat quarterback you possibly got in the league, easily and damn near maybe top three already if he
Yeah.
just stopped right now, right? Um, because you ask a lot of people, he's probably better than Vic to a lot of people
Yeah.
already, and so I think he gets a lot of it because of one, that was the style of offense that they ran in college. Two, it's the same style that they run now. Like
Yeah.
their offense is so much based on his running
But
the
it has
ball.
to be, I feel like, because
It,
why get Lamar Jackson if you want to use him like Tom Brady?
well, see, the thing is, Josh can run, but Josh didn't show you that he was a great runner. I don't think in college, right?
Yeah.
Like he's more of a great red zone runner.
Yeah.
That's what people forget. He's in the red zone. He is like probably the best quarterback we've ever seen in the red zone. Like he's up there with Cam Newton on touchdowns already, if not already passed him, right?
Yeah.
So that part of his game is where he does most of his running damage. Now we don't really sit there and 100% design runs as if when you look at the Ravens,
Oh, for sure, for
they
sure.
sit there and they design a run for Lamar because that has to be in their offense. We can sit there and literally have Josh throw the ball 50 times and can beat you. You cannot sit there 100% and say no one
Oh
can sit
yeah.
there and say 100% that Lamar Jackson throws the ball 50 times that you know for a damn fact that you probably going to come out on the outside of that with a win. Because
Yeah.
one, we haven't seen it. It's not his fault. Now, if he was to get an offensive coordinator who tried to move away, it's like RG3. RG3 was a decent thrower of the ball.
Yeah.
But what would you know RG3 for? His legs. And what happened to RG3? He got his legs taken away because the
Yeah.
offense was so much predicated. It's all the success became from him running the ball, and his coaches didn't try to help him grow
As a
into
thrower.
a thrower. Now we've seen Lamar kind of get away from that so much of the run, right? He takes it when he takes it, and now we've seen him throw the ball a lot more. And he's not a terrible thrower, right? Obviously, they tried to make it seem like he can't
He
throw the
just
ball.
can't throw it all.
And that was all we everybody knows. It was more racial things than anything because,
Yeah.
like, look at all the African American quarterbacks in the league or we've had in the league who have had success, and you've had some who haven't had success with the same
Yeah.
similar playing styles as a lot of these dudes, and that's just how it is. You have uh, white quarterbacks who have success, and you have white quarterbacks that don't have success.
Josh
That's just
Rosen.
how it is. Yeah, like like it happens. It's just the fact that the play style is so much different than for these for us that it sticks out more. So now they have more to talk about, right? Because
Yeah.
a guy who sits in the pocket, you're not thinking he's going to go to the combine and wow you, right, with his athletic ability. But you sit here, you see the throws from him, and you're like, okay, that throw looks good. You see Lamar Jackson, he's throwing great balls at the combine, but he's not getting critique on how good of a ball he's throwing. They find in every little thing, oh, he's off balance, he's throwing off his back foot, this and this
Yeah.
and that.
The
So
ball
it's like,
got there, but his foot was too far
yeah,
back.
oh, this guy had to wait on the ball. And when he gets in the league, these guys are so much more athletic and so much this and that.
Yeah.
Defensive coordinator is going to be able to do this. Well, to be honest with you, defensive coordinators have not been able to do nothing with him at
Yeah.
all. So I really do think this year he's going to definitely be easily over the 3,500 yard mark. And it's also, you have to think about weapons. Like Lamar doesn't have a top 5, top 10 receiver weapon on his
Not at all.
offense besides Mark Andrews,
Yeah.
right? The correlation of Lamar having so many yards and being such a good quarterback is Mark Andrews,
Yeah.
right? Lamar feeds him, Mark becomes one of the best tight ends in the league. Simple as that, right? That's how it is. And that's who he has to throw the ball to. Now, if you give him some real threats, and obviously they've drafted some guys, they let Hollywood Brown go, and that's going to be interesting to see kind of how they replace that and things like that. But it's just like the offense is so run dominant, right? Even
Yeah.
when they had J.K. Dobbins get hurt, um, they had a few of their running backs got hurt, right? They were
Yeah.
still able to keep that thing rolling. Even when Lamar got hurt, Tyler was able to come in there and have success because the offense is so much predicated on the run first, which puts defenses in a tough spot. So when you're a quarterback, it makes the game so much easier for you when you have the
Yeah.
run game going because now you're dealing with heavier boxes. You're not sitting there going against defenses in dime and nickel all damn game. Like that's hard. That's hard.
Yeah.
Like that's why I think I give a lot of quarterbacks who are on teams that they throw the ball more than they run the ball because that's where the game is going now. Like the
Yeah.
game is so much more of a pass game than it's ever been, essentially, on how many teams are doing. Because we've had in the early 2000s, mid 2000s, where guys like Drew Brees were throwing 5,000 yards, and the passing
Yeah.
game wasn't nowhere near what it is now. That's in the fact that if everybody's doing this shit, because everybody couldn't do it in 2010,
Yeah.
right? So it's so much more of a passing game now. So when you think about the guys that's what I don't think people think about when they talk about quarterbacks. When you have guys who they the offense doesn't rely heavily on the run and it's all pass essentially,
Yeah.
you got to give these dudes who are able to win games when they're sitting there throwing the ball 40, 30, 35 to 45 times a game more credit than I would give a dude who throw the ball 20 to 25 times a game.
The more I
Because
feel like you throw to 2020, you're more of a game manager.
yeah, you're a game manager. When you throwing 35 to 45 times, they're literally telling you, yo, the game is in your hands.
Literally.
The game is in your hands, right? Like, because on offense, you're probably getting 65 to 75 plays a game, right? Maybe max, maybe I might be out of range, but maybe I would think 65 to 70 for sure, right? And that's a
Yeah.
long as offensive game if you get that many plays. So 80% of the offense come from you.
Yeah.
The offense runs through you. This team will win if you play well. So when you
If you
got a
don't,
guy
then
like
you
that,
lose.
yeah, you lose. So when you got a guy like that, where you have to beat cover two, you have to beat this coverage, cover three, cover four. They start showing you exotic looks, all this type of stuff. Like that's hard versus a dude who just sitting there and is play action a lot, right? And I think that's what Brady kind of took a huge evolution in his game was from early in his career. He was a dunk. He was just throwing the ball to the running back, essentially,
Yeah.
right? Easy 1-2 combinations outside routes. Um, Play action game, great runners. Play action this, play action that, coming up, making plays, right? Beat 101, beat help over the top, whatever. In the 2010s, we saw his game go from that, right, where him being one of the best to do that part of the game, the play action game, to now in the 2010s literally expand his game so much more because remember I don't know if he still holds the record, but he was up there with Drew Brees with the most passing touchdowns in the season.
Yeah.
I think Peyton Manning has it now, the most passing yards in the season. All these things like Brady was breaking these records. People
Yeah.
forget in the 2010, 2011, 12s, and those years kind of get forgotten for Brady because they kept losing to the Giants in the damn Super
Yeah.
Bowl. So those years kind of get forgotten a little bit. But I think that was his biggest expansion of his game, where now to the point where he's mastered all of it because he's had 10 years damn near in the play action game. He's had 10 years damn near in the shotgun game. And right, like he's in year what 23, 24.
Yeah.
So he can do it all. Like if you see the Buccaneers how they play, they go play action, they go shotgun, they can do it all because they have the dude who's literally been a
He can
part of
really be
both
his own
eras.
offensive coordinator.
Yeah, he like then like it's crazy because it's like dude has literally played 10 years of each style of you know what I mean. He's seen the game
Yeah.
change and he's mastered every single one, um, and that's crazy to think about. But I think yeah, like I think that's the biggest thing between Lamar that people kind of just give him a lot of shit for is that you have to understand it's the style of the offense that he's in, right? Some of it relies on what his athletic ability, yes, but I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure if he was to have an offensive coach that came in and wanted to see him be more in the shotgun, right? Do more things out of the shotgun, get some more rollout passes, right? Because it's a plan. Like Josh don't just come out there and be like, boom, 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 boom. Like You have to ease into the game. You have to have an offensive coordinator, coaches that know how to get you into a rhythm, right?
Yeah.
Like all the great players get that. Like you see basketball, go back to basketball. First couple of shots, these dudes not just taking threes, right? They're trying to get into the flow of the game, rhythm of the game.
Yeah.
Like it's the same thing in football. I'm sure it's the same thing in other
Same thing
sports.
in boxing too. Like you're not coming out here
You're
first
not just
round
coming out
for the most
with your
part trying
crazy combo.
to. You're just trying to, just feel the guy out, see
You're
what
like,
he does,
okay,
see how he move with the wood, and then go
yeah.
boom.
So like you like
Some
in
boxes
boxing,
in there knock you loose.
yeah, like in boxing, like you said, like that's the easiest way to picture it for in
Yeah,
every sport. Like you see a boxer, what they do in the first round is probably damn near the boring round because they're just
yeah,
trying to feel out, trying to see what you do, how you doing, what counters
yeah,
you throwing at them, what you thinking. So the same thing in football when guys get these easy throws, right, to get warmed up, get into the flow of the game, right. That's just how it is. So it's like I'm pretty sure if you see Lamar get a guy, an offensive coordinator who thinks that way, who is part of that type of evolution of the game, where that's the style that he plays with or he
yeah,
thinks with, we'll see him be throwing for 300, 3,500 yards,
yeah,
30 touchdowns every season at minimum. Like we will see that. Like, but it's not the OC that he has. It's not the style of offense that he has. And I'm pretty sure he's young. He's what is he? 25, 26?
He a year older than us. He graduated 2015, so
So he's
25.
25. So the thing about the dude already won an MVP. He got multiple playoff wins, and he's a running quarterback.
Yeah, not bad. Well,
so
he's a running back.
he's a running back. So he's like he's not even. I guess for a lot of people, even because at 25, you don't scratch the surface of how great you are yet. He's
Yeah,
not even nowhere near his prime, and look what he's been able to do in the game. So it's like when I hear stuff like that, and it's crazy to think that yeah, some of it's died down, but some of it's still there. That people really believe that oh, he's not gonna get any better than this. Like think about last year, they were number
yeah,
one in the AFC, right? Until he got hurt.
yeah,
Like people keep forgetting that. Like this dude with all the injuries was literally carrying his team by himself. Like people forget that. So
yeah.
it's crazy.
Because nobody expected, even before we get past that, nobody expected the Ravens to even be kind of relevant last year, just due to all the offseason injuries they had.
I damn sure
Marcus
didn't.
Peters out for the year, J.K. Dobbins out for the year. Then I think it was they had Gus out for the year.
Yeah.
And they had different injuries, and every injury they had was a yearly, like a year you out for the year injury. So people probably looked at the Ravens, they're like, yeah, they just gonna be a little and then Lamar, sure enough, he pulled the troops together, and he had them boys looking real good till he unfortunately got hurt and gave my boy Snoop that nice opportunity.
Yeah, that was a good thing for Snoop. But a bad thing for Lamar, as in for people forgetting about what the hell he
Yeah,
brings to
yeah,
the table. So I'm pretty sure we'll see an evolution in that. But I mean, I think we've covered everything that we needed to hit so
yeah.
far. I think obviously game 4 coming up tomorrow night. We'll have more takes for you guys on
What's your
that.
prediction right now? Let's hear it.
Uh Warriors. I mean, damn, they got to win. They don't
I
have a
think I got
choice.
the Warriors.
For my bragging
Warriors winning
rights,
by
they need
7.
Warriors win by 7. I think yeah,
I think.
okay. I think they win. I was somewhere around 4 or 5 just in the fact that they win in the late game and then they get those free points
The
on the
only
free
thing is, I
throws.
feel like if it's that close, Boston might find a way to win. So they better win with a little bit of margin, because
As long as they come out in the first half playing the style of ball that they played in the third quarter,
you got to make Boston play from behind.
yes, like make them play from behind. Put the pressure on them. Like don't let them put the pressure on you. You cannot
Yeah.
jump out and be down 18 against this team. I'm sorry.
If
You do it
Boston
again, you're
jumps out
done.
against you, they're going to beat you. But as I think this showed in the Miami Heat series before we end, if you let Boston jump out on you, they're going to hold that lead. But if you jump out on Boston,
It's
they
it's
dead in the
tough.
water.
It's tough to get back because their
Yeah,
offense is not that great to get
yeah,
back. They can't score that fast. They play a lot of half court offense. And like
yeah.
you said, like if they jump out on you, you're done. Because
Then they're going to put
I was
that D
watching the
on you.
game. Yeah, I was watching the game to make a quick point of what you just said. I was watching the game. They're down. I mean, Warriors down like 18 something, right? And I'm like, well, in basketball, every team makes a run. Like no team
Yeah,
just gets their ass just washed. Sorry, that just happened. And people say, "Oh, the NBA rigged." Well, no, these are professionals. This shit, you're not just gonna get washed. Like you're not gonna see a football game in the NFL where a team just get their ass with 56 zip. Sorry, not gonna happen. Right?
yeah,
These are professionals. This is what they do every damn day. Like they wake up and this is what you have to do. So you're not going to see that. So I was like, okay, they're going to make a run, right? And the Warriors has been known to be a great third quarter team for their whole entire dynasty. Like, that's
Yeah.
without being said, right? So I'm like, they're going to make a run. They make the run. They go up a point, like you said, right? Marcus Smart answers back with a three. And I'm like, damn. That right there,
Yeah.
when they went up, it was 83. They went up 83 to 82, if my memory recalls. They went up 83-82. Marcus Smart comes back the next possession or possession later and hits a three, 83-85. And
Yeah.
right there, everything in me told me, damn,
Yeah.
this Boston team is furious as hell. Like, they didn't lose the 18-point lead and be like, oh shit, like you know what I mean? Get scared,
Yeah.
deer in the headlights. They looked at it right on and said, okay, cool, no problem. And
It's
pushed it
over.
right back up to 12 before you knew it.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
How these dudes lose an 18-point lead? Don't get word, don't like that. They don't even think about it. No
And get
flinch
it right back.
and go right back. I say that right there told me, I said, oh, these motherfuckers scary. I'm
Yeah.
scared of them.
Yeah.
I'm scared of them because if they did that, I said, ooh, because when we seen when the Warriors lost that lead, they couldn't get right.
Yeah.
Boston was able to get right, even though they lost that. They blew that 18-point lead. And
Yeah.
I was like, damn, that means what I tell you. Great coaching. Coach probably on the sideline saying, they gonna make a run. They great shooters. They this, they that. They been before. They gonna make a run. It's what we gonna
Yeah.
do to counter that run. And boom, they countered that run as perfect as you can imagine. And I'm like, that right there put a lot of fear in me. And I'm like, damn, I probably should have picked Boston.
Yeah.
And I've been giving Boston a little too much credit after game 3 because that was one of the best games from a team that I've seen in a while as a collective group. Like literally everybody played a part in that game. So
Yeah.
I think that's was making me be like, man, I don't know if it's late to flip. I don't know, but I ain't gonna do it. I'm gonna hold on to the Warriors. I got them
Yeah.
in 4. I mean, in game 4.
Yeah.
But
Same here, man. I got the Warriors winning game 4. And if I'm predicting right, I would assume that Golden State maybe win games 5, but I got to see how game 4 plays out before I even make a prediction for game 5.
yeah, I mean, me being with the Warriors, I'm gonna say they get game 4, and this I'm still gonna hold on to this veteranship shit so hard right now. I'm a down this rope with this vet shit. I'm a down this rope. I would say they get game 4 and they get game 5, uh, just because they at home and they have
Yeah.
to show up. But if
Yeah.
Boston get 5, game 5,
It's over.
it's a wrap.
Yeah.
But I don't think they're gonna do it. I think they're gonna get 5 in Golden State. And Golden State gonna get it secured. Then come back to Boston and make it very, very tough for Boston. But I think, as we said, even though this shown us a lot of glimpses that this might go 6, it could go
Yeah.
5 too. That it can go Boston way so far. I think it's still gonna go Warriors 7. But
Yeah.
we'll see after tomorrow night and we, hash it out again. But
100%.
that's another episode of Moss Motor Friends. Appreciate you guys for listening in. Make sure you continue to like us and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Add us on Apple Pod and Spotify at Moss
Yes,
Motor
sir.
Show 1. And you can find us at the same tag on Instagram and Twitter. We out.
Yes, sir.